The Western New York Regional Education Center for Economic Development has been bringing together leaders in business, industry, education, and government for worker training and community progress for over 30 years. Designated by the State Education Department to coordinate employment and training programs across the state, the Western New York Center serves Erie, Niagara, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, and Allegheny counties. Join us now for Target Success with your host, Jerry Wolfgang.
Welcome to Target Success. Our weekly cable television program brings us leaders from the fields of education, business, government, and economic development. Today we have with us as a guest Dr. Kurt Stahura, who's the Dean of International College of Hospitality and Tourism at Niagara University. Welcome, Dr. Stahura.
Hi, thank you very much for having me. It's great to be here.
We're especially happy to have you since as the new dean I get a chance to certainly work in the College of Hospitality and Tourism and have loved meeting you and experiencing certainly all the efforts that you have put into in becoming the new dean. So let's first talk about Niagara University's mission and then the college's mission.
Sure. I would say that the Niagara University mission is geared toward developing the whole person, with a special nod toward community service and helping those that are on the fringes or those who are marginalized. It's where it develops people in very profound ways. These are very impressionable years, and these are transformative years, and we're very proud of the product that passes through our doors.
The College of Hospitality and Tourism certainly started out many, many years ago and has made many changes. And now with you coming in, you have an opportunity to review not only the mission and the policies and the faculty and the courses and the departments, and you're able to look with a outside view of what they've accomplished and what they should be maybe trying to do and what their future will look like. So I think it's a very significant time in the life of the College of Hospitality and Tourism because it enters a new era of future development. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I agree with that. We're on the verge of our 50th anniversary of a college, as a college. We're the oldest college of tourism in the country. And in 2018, we will be celebrating that, and we hope to do so in a variety of different ways, including hosting the premier international conference in the world right here in Niagara Falls, which will bring people, as suggested, from all over the world to our backyard. I would say that Niagara University is perfectly situated and will benefit from the development of the area of Buffalo. And the fact that this is a real gem with respect to tourism in this country. You alluded to the international nature of our college. I think that's one thing that we're really going to be impressing upon our students. We're asking for them to explore the world that sits before them. We have faculty from a variety of different countries, including China, Korea, the Netherlands, Canada, Germany, and we're very proud of our international representation. And we'd like for our students to benefit from that, but also explore themselves.
You know, what's interesting about that, I want to get into your background because it is so spectacular in bringing that background and experience to the college. But you mentioned about international students, and I will tell you that in my course that I teach at the University in Attractions and Tourism Management, I believe I have 2 students from Australia this year, and I believe I have 3 students from Germany.
Correct.
And it is so exciting to have international students in the class. They bring a different outlook to not only the course itself, but to just being here from a foreign country and their view of the area, their view of hospitality and tourism, which can be different from our local students. Tell us about that.
Well, no question. I would say culturally, most of the students that you're going to be dealing with from the aforementioned countries have traveled extensively throughout Europe. Of course, Europe is smaller. There's also a dynamic embedded within the culture where families spend time together traveling. I also know that those students speak several languages. One of the young women in your class speaks 5 languages, which is fairly common. What we're trying to do at Niagara University in the hotel college is, as we prepare students for this dynamic field in which they're going to have opportunities well beyond Western New York, we want to expose them to those people because, as you suggested, they bring a host of different perspectives. I was a professor for many years, and I was teaching in the organizational behavior field or leadership or management field. And what I can tell you is that working for a German organization is very, very different than working for an American organization, which is different than working for a Korean organization in terms of hierarchy, in terms of communication, in terms of the dynamics therein. And these students, as their careers take off, will be working with people from all over the world, will be serving people from all over the world, and working for people from all over the world. So that familiarity is very, very important.
Your background, which I certainly enjoyed reading several times, probably stands out as Singapore managing director for the UNLV program in Singapore, and that has to do with the William Hanna College of Hotel Administration of the University of Nevada, which is well known across the world. So your experience in being in Singapore, the center of developing world tourism, is in itself exciting, and also gives you the benefit of having contacts worldwide in this great field of hospitality and tourism. Tell us about your experience, your background in that field.
You touched on a lot of interesting things there. My wife and I were very, very fortunate to have this opportunity in our lives. And as you suggested, I was at UNLV as part of the William F. Harrah College of Hospitality prior to coming here. And I had an opportunity to run a program and to be part of the administration of a program situated probably in the middle of where the most significant shifts in hospitality are taking place. Singapore is strategically located in between China, which is the most populated country in the world. Secondly is India, and third is the United States, and the fourth most populated country in the world is one that people often forget, and that's Indonesia. Singapore is right in between that triangle. Moving forward, we would like to provide opportunities for students to also experience this exciting area. We in New York and on the East Coast tend to be looking toward Europe, and we have strong ties there, and we'll continue to maintain those and nurture those. But I think moving forward, to broaden experiences for students to some of the areas that you suggested would also be very, very exciting for them.
In your experience in Singapore, it brings different types of students, not only in Singapore itself, but connected to those other countries. The only difference is the cost related to the currencies of those other countries. But there still are a number of students, certainly from China, who want to come to the United States, if not for their bachelor's, certainly for their master's, certainly for their experience. Certainly students in Singapore probably would be looking for internships. So the connection, I think, between Niagara and our let's say, our foreign country friends, like Germany, certainly like the Netherlands, like China, Korea, is to open the door to establish internships for both bachelor's and master's programs at the College of Hospitality and Tourism. Some of that work has been accomplished in the past. We certainly have relationships with Italy and Peru and Germany. Now you're probably looking to see where we could expand that to enrich our student body by bringing the internships and the international students here, as well as having our students conduct those international internships in their countries.
Correct. It's our desire that every single student that passes through the College of Hospitality and Tourism Management has an opportunity to spend a semester, a year, or as you suggested, do an internship overseas. Singapore happens to be an interesting location for us simply because it can probably best be called Asia Light in that it's very westernized. English is the primary language there. It also provides a wonderful jumping off point to a variety of truly interesting countries who are going through this amazing metamorphosis right now in the part of the world that you suggested is going through this transformation. My wife and I, over our 3.5 years in Singapore, went to 17 different countries, and all of them in different stages of their marketing, of their opening their doors to people from all over the world, and it's very, very interesting. I think that we had an opportunity. We went to urban areas, we went to rural areas, and everything in between. That part of the world is very, very open to Americans. You had alluded to currency in your dialogue. The American dollar is incredibly strong right now, so when students come to us from community colleges or from high schools from all over New York, Western New York, or the country for that matter, they benefit from the fact that our currency is strong relative to other currencies, even in some of those aforementioned countries. As a result, they can have overseas experiences that are not incredibly difficult financially. In fact, in many respects, it can be a par situation or a wash financially. So they should try to take advantage of these opportunities. And I promise you, and I tell students this all the time, they will never come back from an overseas experience and say, I wish I hadn't done that. It provides them with a different perspective on the world. It leads them into the ideologies surrounding becoming a citizen of the world, which we're all becoming. But you really need to take that step. And I'm hoping that the parents recognize the significance of this, the students themselves, and I know our administration and our college are certainly behind that. So,
Very important, the cultural and social, let's say, experiences that are gained from the international internships and certainly college work in these foreign countries that are very beneficial to our students, because we are dealing with an international customer in most cases, and now in the tourism hospitality field.
Yeah, very definitely. Keep in mind that if one of our goals is to provide a variety of work opportunities for these students upon going through our program, they'll be a far more interesting candidate when engaging in these overseas opportunities. All things being equal, people that have experienced Europe or experienced Asia will be more valuable to companies. And taking it one step further, a typical trajectory in this field may start in Western New York, but the second job may take them to Chicago. The third job within the same company may take them to Dublin, Ireland. The fourth, Dubai, and then finally Shanghai. And then if they choose to come back to Western New York, by all means, that's wonderful, but they'll come back with a variety of experiences that most of their competition will not have, and they'll be that much valuable to the company upon returning.
In looking at different segments of the College of Hospitality and Tourism, I know you and I have talked a little bit, and I know you're talking to all the faculty about maybe looking at where some other efforts can be made to expand, because of what the career opportunities in this field are so broad. For example, recreation, casinos. There are just so many opportunities now that are out there that you want to be able to look at all the types of let's say, connections to this field in regard to careers, that opportunities are there for students in the future. So as you explore those, and look for what are the right situations and connections to broaden that field, you're going to come up with what will be good for the students, the faculty, and the college.
Yeah, I think we're, as you know, you and I have had a chance to chat. We're going to have some robust programming, and we're going to have a portfolio that provides opportunities not only for traditional students, but also students that are coming back looking to repurpose themselves for a second or even third career. So there are tiers to the educational offerings. You have the undergraduate degree in the traditional sense. You have the master's programs. But also, I think executive education is something that we're going to explore deeply. And we're going to work with the communities. We're going to work with the businesses themselves that hope to nurture talent. So you had alluded to the casino industry, or integrated resorts as they're being called in a lot of places. Las Vegas right now has experienced tremendous growth, not necessarily in gaming, but in other areas. Las Vegas now makes over half of its money from non-gaming related revenues. That includes restaurants, it includes entertainment, it includes events, which you're very familiar with, and we're providing opportunities for students to explore those. Within the recreation and sport field, a lot of people think of sport with respect to professional sport or intercollegiate sport, but there are a host of opportunities beyond that immediate area in YMCAs and Boys and Girls Clubs, in recreation programming, community centers all over the country and all over the world, and these are wonderful jobs. So we're going to provide opportunities for students, once again, in the traditional sense, but also those that might be considering a career move or a career change. So those certificate programs are going to start unveiling themselves here in the not too distant future.
As you certainly work on this review that you're conducting and looking at what the programs are currently and what they could be in the future, I know that you're very, very tied to the international aspect in developing the whole person, the whole student, and giving them those experiences. So are there, besides, let's say, Singapore, which I'm sure because of your connections, are there other areas of the world that you're looking at that you feel would be something to explore? The reason I mention that is in doing a lot of conferences over the past 4 years, we spent time for the International Society of Education Planners in Kenya. Mm-hmm. And the one thing that we saw there certainly were the online courses that students were taking for development purposes. And I say students, I'm talking about adults who were looking to improve themselves. Sure. and learn how to better their careers. So whether it was in hotels or tourism or restaurant, whatever, they were very much involved in taking those courses. And it seemed to me that the web and the technology now is so vast.
Yeah, these are platforms that people can utilize, of course. Not to interject, but what you were suggesting is that every single field has the need for ongoing education. And certainly in certain parts of the world, as the world becomes smaller and as we work with people from different countries and different cultures, just knowledge of cultures and knowledge of multinational dynamics is becoming necessary. So that would be an offering that would be part of a portfolio that we might offer at the executive education level. We also benefit, as you know, Jerry, yourself being one of them, where we have a real nice group of experts and residents where we can provide the theory associated with traditional professorships with practice, where we have people like yourself that are putting together large events. We have people working for the Niagara Tourism and Convention Corporation, people in downtown Buffalo working for large hotels, working for professional sport facilities and professional sport organizations. I would be crazy not to tap the resources and the knowledge and the experiences that they have. So I think we have a wonderful balance of academic and professional exposure, which really is wonderful for our students passing through our programs.
Yeah, the online really, I believe I was over the past 4 years in Poland and Greece and like I said, South Africa, Kenya, and I was amazed to see the students who were using online courses and talking to hotel people where we stayed. They would tell me it's a very valuable asset for their improvement. So,
well, getting back to the non-traditional student, these are people that are working, and we have this new platform, this online platform, whereby people can continue to be lifelong learners, something that is a part of our mission as well, but tap into newer, improved ways of doing things. And I think that this is something that Niagara is going to embrace. You mentioned Africa, you mentioned some other places. This has been going on, this non-traditional executive education programming with diplomas and certificates has been going on around the world for long stretches of time. It's just now that it's starting to reach the United States because we're traditionalists. We think of the 18 to 22-year-old student as the person that we're focusing our attention on, but the reality is that moving forward, Niagara University, and I would imagine a lot of other universities are going to be looking to continue to impart information on to people that need it.
You know, it's interesting, Dr. Stahura, that 2 weeks ago I interviewed Dr. Walter Polka, who's head of the leadership doctoral program at Niagara University, and he brought a student with him from Ethiopia who's seeking his doctorate. And one of the things he said during the program was that Ethiopia is now part of this new tourism and is developing that as a field and career area, and he is going to be a consultant in that field once he achieves his doctorate in leadership. And he was saying it's an area that's growing very, very fast.
Well, I would say that Ethiopia is a microcosm of what's going on in other parts of the world as well. Places like Myanmar have just opened the doors to tourism. It's very interesting to see areas that really haven't developed infrastructure yet. So to go there 10 years from now, it'll be a very different experience. So if you have the opportunity to go to Myanmar, do so because it's interesting. The Philippines is interesting. Parts of China are interesting. And what's enabling this to happen, if you're looking at trends, is we're starting to get airports in areas that didn't have them before. You're starting to have the planes obviously going to those areas. We're starting to develop roads and bridges that are providing opportunities for people to get into what was once considered the hinterland beyond those of the significant major cities. The Philippines has opened up, quite frankly, as an example, because Manila is no longer the only airport that enables you that receives international flights. There are others as well, Cebu being one in Boracay. And if you can avoid some of these large, and what many might say, airports that they're controlled chaos at times, you're getting access to areas that you wouldn't have otherwise seen. So Ethiopia is also going through that. And keep in mind, governments are putting together marketing plans with a concerted effort toward drawing people to their countries. And they recognize that if they're going to move forward, this is a wonderful opportunity to bring people to their country that didn't have access before for a lot of reasons. For instance, my wife and I went to Sri Lanka, which had experienced war for 30 years. Wars usually keep people from going to certain parts of the world, or usually you choose other options. So political stability, infrastructure, currency, kind of stability, these are all things that open doors to tourism.
Time runs very quickly for 28 minutes, and I really appreciate you coming today to tell us about the College of Hospitality and Tourism, and certainly your background in Singapore and all the new things that you would like to accomplish as Dean of the College of Hospitality. I want to thank Dr. Kurt Stahura for being with us today.
Thank you very much. That did go quickly. And if you'll have me back, we can give you updates on some things that are happening in our college. I think it's a very interesting time, as you had suggested.
We will do that, and we'll be happy to welcome you back in 6 months or so and talk about some of those new, let's say, developments at the college. I want to thank our listening audience for tuning in today to hear Dr. Kurt Stahura talk about the College of Hospitality and Tourism. We look forward to seeing you again soon on Target Success.